Good morning. It is September 22nd. It is Wednesday, 2021. Anger and frustration. Um, it's funny how it's not funny, but it's crazy, really. This whole process of what's going on, and it's not an easy deal um, to deal with anger and frustration. So before I would get angry, situations would happen. People would do things that I would deem as stupid or intentional or just not caring, and I'd get frustrated at that. Or miss people would misinterpret stuff or confuse things or accusations, endless things that just could tip me off the edge and make me angry. Most of the time, it was people not understanding or um, trying to. Um, it was really a lot of times. I mean, honestly, the truth. Like I felt like I had a really good memory, and I do feel like I have a good memory. I just feel like people would remember things incorrectly, and it would cause arguments or frustrations over it. And sometimes I would be wrong, and most of the time I would have the right memory, but it didn't matter. It would just cause these angers, this frustration, this feeling of um, I had no control in the situation. No matter how much I could explain, no matter how much I could prove it, no matter what, uh, it didn't matter. It was like an endless battle. It was like literally running into a brick wall over and over and over, and it would just frustrate me that there was no solution because I was always seeking the solution, trying to figure out how to resolve things, how to communicate things, how to control things in a way to where we would find solution and have a solution. It was just like an endless battle, and just being, um, and it's never, you sit there and you're living life and you're like, oh, I could face anything, I'm prepared. I'm watching, but it's when things come at you sideways from left field, you're not prepared. You don't know you're being accused of something or it's whatever. There's just endless things that happen, misunderstandings, and man, those were the things that would set me off, and it would just be absolutely frustrating, or people not wanting to listen, or people more concerned about themselves than the situation or about me. Um, just crazy control. And really, that's what it I think stemmed from is me trying to control every situation, every outcome to produce the utopia that I wanted in and that I thought was needed. And I always had this thought that I was, my manipulation or my control, my intentions was always to benefit everybody equally. But in reality, it was, yes, I was going to benefit most people. Most people would benefit, but I would benefit by maintaining whatever I was worried about losing or making sure that I was safe, secure, and where I wanted to be. And then everybody else, fell into that. And if they didn't align with what I was laying out, then they would get in or get out, um, and that control would cause me great anger and frustration when people would, argue or go against whatever I was laying down. And so when that happened, I would just remove people from my life. And the thing is the people that there were certain people in my life, like my wife and my grandma and my family, um, that there's no removing them. They're uh, a part of my life that is, beyond removing, but those would be the most frustrating conversations because I couldn't just be like, get out of my life and be done with you, and I don't have to deal with you anymore. You don't want to get in line, and I don't want to deal with you. And it was so there's going through the process of restoring those relationships and having to listen to stuff that, not necessarily is absolute truth, um, has caused in the last week some issues, not really issues, has caused those feelings to start to boil back up. Like, what is going on? Like it's like I've been in an incubator for the last 5 months, not having to deal with a lot of those because I've been in a whole new area, a whole new group of individuals, not every one of them, but most of them. And so, like any of those past situations where I had tore into somebody, or basically let them know my feelings and frustrations with them, and those relationships that had those um, hurts that needed to be mended. I haven't had to deal with many of those, and so as I'm going through this process of restoration, some of those things are boiling up again, and it's if it was stuff that I remembered to be absolute truth, or even close to the truth, I would be a whole lot more inclined not to even get frustrated or bubbled, because like the I'm in the motion of dealing with that stuff wholeheartedly. But obviously, there's the next. You never can be prepared. Like, it's always out of left field, because it's stuff that's, like, am I a racist? Like things like that, where it's like, what? You're like, are you kidding me? And just dealing with the misunderstanding, the confusion, the hurts, and just it's a lot. It seems like a lot, and somehow, not somehow, but thank God, um, He's giving me this peace and patience, to be able to maintain composure through those situations, and to respond in an appropriate way. And then to step away from those situations and be able to enter into prayer and just be like, what is going on? What I mean? How's this all working? What do you got going on? Because there's this surrendered part of my life. Like, I'm surrendering all these situations to Him, and I'm trusting in Him. And so when things happen that are crazy, or when things are hurtful or things are hard, I'm like, you're in control. So what is the deal with this? What am I supposed to be getting out of this? How is this working towards the purpose that you have set? And just continually bouncing it off of Him. What is your intended goal of this? And how is this? What is all this? And just having that conversation with God, and trying to roll over it, and then listening, and have Him just kind of, um, most of the time, I mean, honestly, it's humbling, because in reality, He's showing me my faults and my failures, not really failures, but my faults and my shortcomings, and the things where I need to improve, and the things where I need to admit, repent, and learn from. Those things, and those are the good things when I can see those, because sometimes it's blinding to be able to not see those. Um, and so it's good to be able to see those, and He reveals those to me. And then there's also the other part, where the things that don't make sense, like, and He just really is encouraging me to be patient, and love, and tolerant, and long suffering, and that you know things are, you know people are struggling just as well as I have struggled, and with patience and love, um, and long suffering, and just going through it and loving people, even if it's wrong, even if they're off base, even if they are in left field, and I can prove it. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, that is not the solution. The solution is not to prove, to attack, to straighten people out, to control them, to make them understand. Um, that's not the process. That's not the way. He's showing me how, through this loving, caring, patient, peaceful process of surrendering to him, and showing that surrender, to others as well, and loving them more than trying to prove them wrong or get them to where they can understand the truth, or any of that crap. That's never worked in the past, and it's him showing me in a lot of ways of how to deal with this stuff. And so, yeah, anger and frustration, dealing with these feelings and emotions in a different way, in a way to where it's, basically surrendering to God these things. And so I want to read some verses. These ones are really good. All right. Ephesians 4:26. Be angry and yet do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your anger, and do not give the devil an opportunity. James 1:19. This my brethren, my beloved brethren, but everyone must be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger. For the anger of man does not achieve the righteousness of God. Proverbs 29. A fool always loses his temper, but a wise man holds it back. James 1:20. For the anger of a man does not achieve the righteousness of God. We just read that. Proverbs 19. A man's discretion makes him slow to anger, and it is his glory to overlook a transgression. Ecclesiastes 7:9. Do not be eager in your heart to be angry, for anger resides in the bosom of fools. Proverbs 15. A hot-tempered man stirs up strife, but the slow to anger calms a dispute. Proverbs 15. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. Colossians 3:8. But now you also put them aside, anger, wrath, malice, slander, and abusive speech from your mouth. James 4. What is the source of quarrels and conflicts among you? Is not the source your pleasures that wage war in the members? You lust and do not have, so you commit murder. You are envious and cannot abstain, so you fight and quarrel. You do not have because you do not ask. And there's a couple pages here, and I just want to end with God is so faithful and so good, and this process that I'm going through is just beginning, and it's going to get. I don't want to say it's going to get harder, but it's going to have days that are hard. That's why I got one day. If I can overcome and I can bring it to Him and I can surrender to Him this day, and trust in Him, like all of these little steps, even though I don't see the future and I don't see how it all works out. In the end of this all, it will work out to His purpose and not my own. And I will be better for it. And His purpose, His plan is so much better than mine. Thanks for listening. Have a good day.